Were there any mistakes that you made with What Death Leaves Behind that you wish you could have corrected, or? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes on What Death Leaves Behind, and I make mistakes in anything. I think the main one, though, one that I think I learned the lesson well enough is to not deviate what I know is true, what I've already learned. So I made a concession for an individual. I saw something, but I accommodated it instead of dealing with it. And I know that's not the way to do things. I know that. But I made a concession because the person was temperamental and a little sensitive. And that is something that you adjust with, but that's not something you don't deal with. That's not something you don't change with, or, you still have to thwart things, stop them before they grow. And that one decision allowed for this person to put, I guess, poison on others. Because I figured if I just accommodate that thing and make sure I'm building them up enough or giving them enough encouragement, then they would be okay. But they were okay with me. But if you saw something, I won't say ugly, but something undone in a person, how do you think they're going to interact with their teammates? They're going to bring that to them. And that's something, as a producer, you're all the way up here. You're not going to hear the little riddle, like the little sounds, the little murmurs, the little complaints. You're going to hear the big stuff. And when the big stuff comes, you're like, I could have fixed this by dealing with what I saw. So I think for me, the main thing that I messed up on was not sticking to something I knew was true because I was trying to accommodate a person. That's the thing about being empathetic, right? Like, you're empathetic, but that doesn't mean you change your movements. That means you change how you deliver the movement. So it's like the conversation should have been had, and I should have put, I guess, like a test for moments where I can check back in or ask people around him, hey, how's it going with this? Not giving them anything, but just kind of seeing, because by the time it got to me, the one all the way up here, it was like mayhem. And I'm talking about, that's one thing that doesn't normally happen with my sets, because everyone feels empowered, they feel supported, but it's a book called The Energy Bus, and there's one person that can shift an energy. And you feel it, and if you're all the way up here, you're thinking, oh, let me get them going, let me give them more, let me make sure they have better food, but you won't know where it's coming from. But that's why in a leadership position, we have to make sure when we see things, we deal with it, and we have to deal with it aggressively. And that aggression, though, should have empathy with it, because if you're strong without empathy, you're a jerk. So be strong, though, first with empathy. And now you're a leader. Now you're fixing a problem. Now you're the person that's going to remove the energy that is lacking or bringing negativity. And even that's hard for that person, should do it with care. But now everyone else is taken care of, because you can't think about the person most. You have to think about the group most. So I'm thinking about my whole team. That energy would not have been given the concession or the pass. If I was thinking of the whole team in that moment and not the person's feelings, I would have dealt with it. It would have been out. And a few people were hurt by that person that wouldn't have been hurt if I dealt with it differently. And it wasn't even a lesson like, wow, that's how you do it. It was like something I knew. But I made a deviation, and that was the outcome. So thank goodness the end of it, everyone that dealt with it, I mean, we had like meetings about it. This is after the film was over. We dealt with it, and it was kind of like almost like a support group. And I'm laughing because it's like, oh my gosh, how did this happen? But yes, that person definitely was a negative energy, and they were removed halfway through production. But they didn't even have to be there. I could have just continued on caring about that person off the set. And that's what I would have done different.